So, hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. So, how are you guys all doing today? This is actually another live stream. So, I did say I would stream on the weekend, but I decided to, well, maybe stream today and yeah, stream as of when I'm recording this. The stream will be out tomorrow. Yeah, that's what the stream will be out tomorrow. So actually, well, what I do have planned for today, I want to actually do some storytelling and a bit of chatting. So, yeah, once upon a time, there was this guy named Justin who was actually, well, going on a hike and didn't realize that he was actually hiking near well, he was actually a paranormal investigator that was actually wanting to try to hunt for skinwalkers. And yeah, he wanted to try to hunt for skinwalkers, but he actually then laid out some traps. Then he actually, well, meanwhile, into the camping sighting excursion, he he noticed there was something moving in the forest as he was sleeping. He went to then go check out the computer trail cams that he then placed all like throughout the section of the forest that he was in. And yeah, so feel free to leave any stories that you guys want me to tell, because I'm actually going to be telling some stories. So feel free to leave any stories or any stories that could actually, well, let's continue. So this paranormal investigator named Justin was meanwhile checking the trail cams, and he then noticed something, well, very very peculiar. And he noticed that there was a deer, but really it was actually, well, it started looking at him funny, and he had like stuff that can actually alert a skinwalker. And then he thought he could be so curious, and he blew his whistle to trigger a skinwalker. And then it started chasing after him. Then he actually found, well, something for a little defense is that he put cans like in different entrances of where he was camping on his campsite. And yeah, they started going like crazy. And then he was really heavily alerted that skinwalkers were actually near. And yeah, so what I'm actually doing is doing some storytelling. I am inspired by a lot of storytellers that I see on YouTube that make like those horror stories, and even those animated horror stories that you see on YouTube. There's also a horror story creator called Mr. Nightmare. He actually tells horror stories, and I would love to. Well, I am telling a story about like a skinwalker sighting, and there's this paranormal investigator that actually encounters a skinwalker, but he then goes back to where he set up camp, and he did actually bring an RV, and he did set up cans on string al- around, like, from certain areas of the trees to actually, well, yeah, so later on, Justin, the paranormal investigator, actually managed to wait out the the skinwalker before it was, well, he wanted to stay there for the rest of the night, but he then realized that a few months after, he regretted actually going into that forest because it was actually based off of the show Skinwalker Ranch, which that is a very good show on Stack TV, and I kind of made a horror story based on that. So yeah, on to my next story. So yeah, what I think for my next story. So here's a iPhone horror story. So two kids named Timmy and Jimmy realized that when they were going for their phone upgrade, they realized that, well, a few months in to their phone upgrades, like a few months after their phone upgrades, they started realizing Siri would get really, like, become very aware of, well, Siri would then start to really learn about Jimmy and Timmy's lives and what they would say on a regular basis. And they started noticing very strange things. And Then later on, Siri started to, well, have very, uh, like, Siri would start to really search up on Jimmy and Timmy. Siri would then search more about them, and then which ChatGPT then created an AI video where it looked like Jimmy and Timmy. Well, these are just made up characters. So they the chat GPT got so powerful to like make a video of them saying something that really wasn't actually true. Then they needed to actually then return Siri for, well, just having malfunctions. And, well, they didn't want to say the other things because, yeah, they were just a bit embarrassed. So that's kind of that story. An iPhone Siri horror story, or an iPhone Siri story. Well, I would love for there to be a Siri. Well, you know how Elon Musk actually showed off those Android robots? Well, I could imagine if Apple made their own, like, robotic Siri where it would actually be in your house, or even where Siri, well, what if Apple made a toaster? Now that would be, or even if Apple made a fridge. Like, what if, well, here's a conspiracy theory. What if Apple made like an Apple product conspiracy theory story where what if Apple is trying to make, well, because actually they're gonna be making smart homes where they're actually gonna be, well, it is gonna be taking the same inspiration from like Google smart home assistants, like smart lights and all that, which Apple may be creating their own security cameras that people could buy. And what if that's just the beginning? Because, well, if Apple decided to create their own, well, like, if all these products would then lead up to something crazy, well, that's just a conspiracy theory. Well, but even with Apple Intelligence, which I think that is not, well, actually, on back on to the stories. Back on to some storytelling. So, yeah, I think. Well, yeah, let's do a Minecraft story. So, yeah, there was this Minecraft player named Justin, and I'm referring to my Minecraft character. So, yeah, so I'm in my Minecraft world that I would usually be in, but little do I know my Minecraft world would become something bigger because it's more than just one world. It would be infinite worlds of my amazing world where, like, a lot of worlds would start to then collide. Almost like what Doctor Strange caused an incursion in Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness and even Spider Man No Way Home. So, kind of like that concept. And where some past builds and old builds, like my dock in my amazing world, it would then kind of collide with some very old builds and which some other sections of my world, even old parts and new parts of my world, like what was there before my, well, of how my nether hub in my overworld of my amazing world, it was, well, a hexagon instead of an office building. So that would be getting changed. Well, it would kind of, well, sort of get caught in between. Because then I start to notice some parts of my amazing worlds, like right beside the apartment buildings in my city, the bookstore actually being there in, from a past world save, being there in the current world save of my amazing world, where the bookstore would be there, and even Dunkin' Donuts. A lot of builds that would actually, which my city would not just be very flat. And, well, I actually want to start telling stories on my channel. And, yeah, even stories on my channel. That would be very awesome. And so, also, all my mob farms, well, my mob spawners that I actually created, one near the villager headquarters, that old one that got demolished. Well, so my industrial district then actually got a major upgrade because below it, actually, there was some, like, like the mob spawners that I made, they were downsized, and then because my amazing world was almost facing a extinction level event, and to then prevent that, I had to like go back in time to fix something. Yeah, to go like back in time to fix something. Well, this is sort of like a Minecraft movie like idea if I just tried to make one. Minecraft Crisis on Infinite Worlds. Ooh, that gives me an idea. Minecraft Minecraft Crisis on Infinite Worlds. That leaves me with a good idea. What if I have my Amazing World, the current one, like the very old one, and actually bring lots of iterations of it to my old one, to my very first world, and where it can actually lead up to like a Minecraft movie almost. Ooh, that leaves me with an idea. Crisis on Infinite Worlds. That would be Minecraft Crisis on Infinite Worlds. Ooh, that could be almost like the DC Crisis on Infinite Earths, where that is one of my favorite the one of my favorite crossovers in the DC universe with the Arrowverse shows, where when those shows with even Superman and Lois kind of concluding the Arrowverse, and Fawn did actually make a appearance in Superman and Lois. Well, that does actually conclude the storytelling portion of this live stream. So let's now do some chatting and talking. So, a movie that is gonna be a TV show that is now gonna be a movie is Henry Danger, and that has a release date of January 17th, 2025. So you can watch it on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus, but it won't have a movie theater release date because, yeah, it won't have a theatrical release. It will be exclusive to Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. And SpongeBob, I would say with the later episodes of SpongeBob, especially season 14, it tends to be very like what are what am I thinking of? Like it just seems like it's losing its comedy. It seems like SpongeBob is losing its comedy in season 14. And yeah, so I have an upcoming podcast. It's called The Best Days of TV, The Golden Days of TV. where shows that used to be good are like lost in a graveyard of Cartoon Network. Well, that podcast, Golden Age of Television. Yes, that could be the podcast title. Golden Age of TV. So yeah, that podcast is coming very soon. So yeah, stay tuned for that one, guys, because the golden age of TV, the golden age of TV shows, yeah, the golden age of TV shows and movies, that new podcast will be coming soon. So yeah, bye guys. Thanks so much for watching. Consider subscribing and stay tuned for more. This live stream will be uploaded at 7:14 and scheduled for that. So bye-bye.